How's it going, everyone? Stacy over here at Make It a Blockbuster 9, and this will be the first episode of Inside the Collection. So I figured I would start this off fairly big. I'll show off a format collection here. Probably, honestly, my favorite format of all time. It's definitely not the most of something I have in my collection, but it's a decent collection. Always trying to build on it. It's another one of these I don't find a whole lot out in the wild anymore. Randomly. I mean, last year in 2022, I did find quite a few at my local half-price books, but a lot of these I do have to pick up on eBay. I had a couple of friends I got a bunch from too. So, and that is going to be Laserdisc. So we're going to crack into my entire collection. Like I said, it's not by far what I have the most of in a format, but it's pretty solid. There is a couple of pretty big stacks here. I would guess maybe a couple hundred, maybe. So we are going to get into this because this video will probably be fairly long. So let's get it started. These are in no order. I just grabbed them out of my locker thing I had them in, so no particular order, but we're going to get into it. First thing we're going to start off with is a Jim Carrey movie, and we got Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. And the glare on some of these are probably going to be bad, but there is that. So there is Ace Ventura. Next one up, we've got Boomerang. And the back of that. Another awesome film. Remember going to this in the theater. It did get a Blu-ray release, I believe. It was either 2022 or 2021, but there is Boomerang. Up next, we got Heavy Metal. There is that. This was an awesome... This one I may have found at half-price books, but I had to grab that. So there is Heavy Metal. Up next, we got True Romance. And the back. And when they are the ones that do open up, I will show that as well. But so far, all these have just been regulars. But there's True Romance. Next, we got, well, a couple of these are Kenny Level's favorite movies with Heavy Metal. And now here's Edward Scissorhands, waiting for his impression now. And the back of that. Next up, we've got Jurassic Park, The Lost World. Tim should like that. There'll be a couple more Jurassic Parks in here as we get down through this stack. Next up, we got The Usual Suspects. Another great movie. And let's see, we will do Shawshank Redemption. Next, we've got Deep Impact. Glad this is getting a 4K release here relatively soon. I think actually maybe the first week of May. There's Deep Impact. Next up, we've got Basic Instinct. I actually picked up the 4K release of this last year. It was an overseas release. Another movie that I do have on several formats, probably 4 or 5 different formats I own that movie on. Next, we got, there's a few releases of this on Laserdisc, but I have this one, and that is Jaws. And the back. Up next is 12 Monkeys. Then we will do, got a few of these. These were ones, this is some I got at half price books. They have these protective sleeves on them, which are kind of nice. And this is Hot Shots Part 2. I just love this cover art. This thing is so awesome. Get the glare off there. There we go. Then another one that had that on, had that protected cover was The Getaway with Alec Baldwin and Kim Basinger. This wasn't a bad movie, I don't believe. It's been a long time since I've seen it. Something I need to rewatch sometime. Up next, we got Q&A with Nick Nolte, Timothy Hutton. This was actually a Blockbuster rental. Another Blockbuster rental. Some of these are kind of beat up. This was just a lot I got on eBay at one time that was really cheap. Presumed Innocent with Harrison Ford. Up next, we've got Ordinary People. Next one up, Sarah Jessica Parker, Antonio Banderas, Miami Rhapsody. Next one is Something to Talk About, Julia Roberts, Robert Duvall, Dennis Quaid. This was a fairly fun movie, if I remember. Another one that's been a long time since I've seen it. Next up is Too Much with Antonio Banderas, Melanie Griffith, Daryl Hannah. Like I said, I think this was just a bunch of these here that I was going over now. It was just a lot I went on eBay that was really, really cheap. Next up is The War with Kevin Costner and Elijah Wood. And let's see, then we've got Amadeus. This was a pretty cool find. I was glad I found this. Awesome movie. Pretty cool artwork on that. Next up is Splash. This was a find out in the wild. Pretty cool find. Tom Hanks and Daryl Hannah. John Candy was pretty awesome in that as well. We got some Schwarzenegger, and it is Eraser. Fun movie. Again, another one I haven't seen in a long time. I think I saw that in the theater as well. Then we got some Beverly Hillbillies. Actually, kind of a funny movie. Alrighty, and then we'll go with Cool World. Brad Pitt, Kim Basinger. Love this movie. So glad this got a Shout Factory release recently. So that was an awesome get. Then we got The Program. Great football movie with Craig Schiffer, James Caan, Christy Swanson, Omar Epps. So there's that. That was an awesome get. Then we've got The Rocketeer. Next one, got a copy of Kingpin. Another awesome movie. I've seen this several times. Woody Harrelson, Randy Quaid, Vanessa Angel, Farrelly Brothers. Classic comedy. And then we'll get into the next one. This is a box set anniversary celebration edition. This is not open. It is a 3-disc set, and that is Casablanca. Get some of that glare off there. This was a pickup at Half Price Books. I think I got this for maybe $7 or $8, so that was a pretty cool get. Next up, we've got Ghostbusters 2. And let's see, then we've got one of these MGM sampler discs. These are always pretty cool. I remember them doing these. I think they did these with DVDs back in the day, VHS back in the day as well. And this is just an MGM one, and it just has a bunch of clips from all kinds of MGM movies. I don't know how well you guys can see that, but that was a cool find. I think I got this for like $2, so I had to grab it. Next up, we've got The Manchurian Candidate with Frank Sinatra, Janet Leigh, Lawrence Harvey. This is an awesome release of this. This is one of these that does open up. And there is the inside of that and the back. Next up, we've got The Apartment. Another great movie. Jack Lemmon, Shirley MacLaine, Fred MacMurray. And this is another one of those that does open up. The inside's pretty awesome. Another out in the wild find this one was, so. Next up, we've got The Wedding Singer. Classic Sandler and Drew Barrymore. So there's that. Beverly Hills Cop. And own this. Definitely in my probably top 20 favorite movies of all time. We will go with, up next is Dick Tracy. This was another one, I believe I found this at Half Price Books, I think, as well last year. They don't get them very often, but usually when they do, they're fairly decent titles they get in. And they're not too bad priced most of the time. Up next, we got Anaconda. We've got another one of these that opens up. This is another pretty awesome release. This is Hitchcock's North by Northwest. There's that. Open this bad boy up. And there is the inside. And there's the back. Next up, we've got another classic. Another one that does open up, and that is Marilyn Monroe, Tony Curtis, Jack Lemmon in Some Like It Hot. Another pretty awesome find. This was another Half Price Books find. There is the inside of that and the back. Next up, we've got Braveheart. Pretty cool find. Pretty awesome addition to the collection. We've got Mars Attacks. One of my favorite Burton films, probably easily in my top 5 Burton films, possibly top 3. There's that. Speaking of Tim Burton, up next is Batman Returns. Then we will go with Forrest Gump. And this is one that opens up. Still got a flyer in it for something. There is the inside and the back of Forrest Gump. Alrighty, next up we will go through, I believe this is the trilogy. Yep. All 3 Back to the Future. So I'll show these here real quick. There is Back to the Future Part 1. Glare is bad on these. The ones that still have some cellophane on them. But Back to the Future Part 2. Try to get some of that glare off there. And Back to the Future Part 3. These as well were half-price books finds. Relatively cheap, I think. These were like $5 a piece. Let's see. Up next, we've got Demolition Man. Must own for the Laserdisc collection. Then we've got The Bodyguard. Up next, we've got The American President. Very underrated romantic comedy. Highly recommend if you guys have not seen this. But there is The American President. Up next, we've got Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Then we will go with some Bad Boys. Really, I was pretty hyped actually when I found this. I think this was another... This may have been a Goodwill find. There's been a handful of these I found at a Goodwill too. But there we go. Awesome to add Bad Boys. Next up, we will go... Always remember, don't call her Babe. But we've got Barbed Wire. Up, we will go, let's see what's out next here. We've got Natural Born Killers. We've got Con Air. We got The Rock. Some classic action movies of the 90s to own on laser. Then we've got, of course, gotta have Face Off. And then this one does open up. This is pretty badass. That and the back. Alrighty, and then we've got Good Morning Vietnam. Robin Williams classic. And I just had this conversation with Bob last night, I believe. Probably my favorite Robin Williams movie of all time. It's one or two. Just such an awesome movie. And this is another one that opens up. Great photo in there of the cast. There's that. This was a pretty awesome release of Good Morning Vietnam. Up next, we've got Dangerous Minds. We've got Threesome. Not quite an orgy, Tim, but it works. Actually a pretty underrated comedy from the 90s. Another one that I always highly recommend. If people haven't seen this, it's a good time. Next up is Dragon, the Bruce Lee story. Another underrated movie that I always recommend to people as well. If you haven't seen it, check it out. We've got Babe. We got Men in Black. And this next one, I mean, what else? Says the 90s, but a MTV film, their very first movie, and it's Singing Cockroaches. Joe's Apartment. Up next, and obviously my favorite movie of all time, so gotta have it on Laserdisc, and that is Top Gun. This has a few releases on Laserdisc as well. But there is that one. Next up, we've got another Jim Carrey in The Mask. We got up next JFK, one of Stone's best. If it doesn't fall out, open that up. Remember seeing that in the theater as well. That was an interesting experience. It's kind of like the Pulp Fiction, where a lot of people walked out, but whatever. Next, some more Schwarzenegger. We got Total Recall. And we've got Showgirls, getting a Vinegar Syndrome 4K in May, I believe. But there is the laser. This one does open up as well. Not sure if I can show everything on there, so we'll just move on. Up next, we've got the Signature Collection from Universal Studios. This is the release of Out of Sight. And there's that. Up next, gotta love disaster movies. And here is Volcano. Tommy Lee Jones. Back when they used to release similar movies back to back in the same year. This and Dante's Peak, and you had Deep Impact, Armageddon. Next up, we have Get Shorty. Another awesome movie, great cast. We will go into Beverly Hills Cop 2. Of course, had to have this one. Actually, pretty awesome follow-up to the original. Enjoyed Beverly Hills Cop 2 a lot as well. We've got Reservoir Dogs. Nope, here's another one that says 90s for you. And that is Fair Game. I can't speak. Fair Game. And that's right. Cindy Crawford acting in a movie. We've got Batman. This is a must-have from the Laserdisc collection. Back of that is pretty cool. Then we've got Independence Day. Another must-own on Laser. And this is another one that does open up. And unlike Showgirls, I can actually show the inside of this one. There's that. Next up, we're going to have a run on Wesley. Here is Money Train. Wesley and Woody Harrelson. Then we've got Passenger 57, one of my favorites of his. There is that. And then we've got, we just recently got a VHS retro cover from Mill Creek, and here is The Fan, De Niro and Snipes, great movie. We've got Boiling Point. Up next, we've got Drop Zone, another Snipes movie I really enjoy. Another one I think is kind of underrated. Got him and Gary Busey in it. We got Rising Sun with Wesley and Sean Connery. Another pretty good movie based on Michael Crichton's book. We got Sleeping with the Enemy. Some early Julia Roberts. Got 9.5 Weeks with Mickey Rourke and Kim Basinger. This is the original uncut, uncensored version. Nope, yep. Nothing too bad on the back of that. We've got Disclosure with Michael Douglas and Demi Moore. We got No Mercy. Another one, I think this just got a Kino release not too long ago as well. And gotta have the Julia Roberts classic, Pretty Woman. Again, sorry, but some of these that got that plastic on the glare on these are really bad. We've got Boogie Nights. Good old Dirk. There is that. Awesome, awesome movie, actually. Aspen Extreme. Some Top Gun on the slopes, tell ya. I actually enjoy this movie. This is another kind of underrated movie of its time. Another one I recommend a lot to people if they haven't seen it. We have got the Criterion Collection. Yep, Criterion was on Laserdisc as well. And this is Singing in the Rain. And I believe that was a half-price books find as well. Up next, we've got Sliver. Kind of a pretty awesome Sharon Stone, William Baldwin, Tom Berenger movie. We've got The Quick and the Dead. Another great movie. Another great find to own on Laserdisc. We have got The Batman Forever. We got Tequila Sunrise. Got some Christian Slater on laser, and this is Cuffs. Another pretty awesome movie. We have Single White Female. Then here's a few more of these that I got in that one stack of stuff I was talking about earlier, where I got stuff really cheap, so I just picked up the lot. This is Music Box. It's got Jessica Lange in it. We've got That Old Feeling with Bette Midler and Dennis Farah. We have got Michael Naismith and Elephant Parts. Got Showboat. Classic musical. Old Explorers. Try to go over some of these quick. Some of these I don't know a whole lot about. They were just in that lot I bought. We got The Princess and the Pirate. This is a classic collection release. Next up, we've got China Moon, Ed Harris and Madeline Stowe. We have got Bogus with Whoopi Goldberg and Gerard Depardieu. A copy of Defenseless with Barbara Hershey and Sam Shepard. All right, now we go back to some other stuff. We have got the original Mission Impossible, the original movie. This one does open up as well. This is a pretty cool inside as well. Famous scene there. There we go. We got The Abyss. And another one that does open up. And there is the back. We have got a couple of Tom Cruise coming up here. First off, we got Cocktail. Love that movie as well. It's such a fun movie. And then we've got Days of Thunder. And another one that does open up. The inside of that. And the back. We've got The Last Action Hero. Some more Schwarzenegger. There is that. This one does open up as well. Pretty cool inside. And the back. City of Joy. Patrick Swayze film. We got Marvin's Room with Meryl Streep, DiCaprio, Diane Keaton. Next up, we have Far From Home, The Adventures of a Yellow Dog. We have got The Evening Star with Shirley MacLaine, Juliette Lewis, Bill Paxton, Miranda Richardson. This one's falling apart pretty bad, but here is Funny Girl. Some classic Barbra Streisand. Alrighty, next up we've got The Last Boy Scout. Great 90s. We've got another highly underrated movie, The Thing Called Love. Another one I always recommend. Samantha Mathis, River Phoenix, Sandra Bullock, Dermot Mulroney. And on that same topic, another highly underrated movie from the 90s, Indian Summer. Such an amazing cast, such a fun film. We've got With Honors, another one that's highly underrated, amazing cast. Joe Pesci, Brendan Fraser, Maria Kelly, Josh Hamilton. Searching for Bobby Fischer. Another great movie. Another highly recommended movie if you haven't seen that. Higher Learning. Great John Singleton movie. Alrighty, we're getting close to the end here. Pulp Fiction. Another must-own for this collection. We've got Seven as well. Next up is Aladdin. Love this release of Aladdin. This is the CAV Letterbox Laserdisc Walt Disney Classic. This does open up as well. And there we go. Next up, we have The Crow. This was another half-price books find, which I was happy to find. Paid a little more for this because this was, I think this was like 12 or 13 bucks, but wanted to add it to the collection. We've got The Commitments. Another highly underrated movie. This is my number 3 favorite movie of all time. Another one that I always recommend. Huck's a big fan of this as well. So if you haven't seen The Commitments, you get a chance to check that out. We've got A Few Good Men. This one does open up as well. White Men Can't Jump. We got Leon the Professional. Another one that I'm super stoked I own on laser. Alrighty, we're into the last little stack here. We have got Terminator 2, Judgment Day. And this is another one that does open up. We've got Jurassic Park. Opens up as well. That's pretty cool on the inside of that as well. And in the back. Twister. Some of these you guys may have seen in my 90s, my top 25 90s that I did for Tim. But there's Twister. We got Speed. Beautiful Girls. Again, highly underrated movie. Amazing cast. Haven't seen it. Find it. Check it out. We got The Sandlot. Glad to own this. This was a bit of a challenge to find, but I ended up finding it finally. We got Point Break. And this one does open up as well. And the back of it. And we are to the last item, which is good. We'll keep this under 38 minutes or so, which is good. But the last one I do have is the widescreen Star Wars Trilogy Special Edition box set. This is probably the most expensive thing I bought out of this whole collection as one single item, but I did want to own I did want Star Wars on Laserdisc in some way. Not particularly the special editions, but they are the cheapest to own. But there is that. So, all right, guys, that is the first episode of Inside the Collection. I kind of want to start it off big and show off this, show off a format and my favorite format of all time. Most of these probably won't be this long unless I ever do a complete 4K or Blu-ray collection or DVD. Other formats, if I do other formats, they're not quite as big as the Laserdisc collection, like HD DVD or UMDs for the PSP, the VHS and stuff like that. So otherwise, I will just tackle different parts of the collection. I'll probably do probably the next one I'll do is I'll probably do some TV stuff and show off some TV stuff in the collections. I do have quite a few of that, but I am going to stop rambling now. We're over 38 minutes, so all right, guys, that was the Laserdisc collection. Let me know what you think. Let me know what some of the highlights were in the comments below. As always, do all that fun YouTube stuff. Subscribe, like, hit that bell, get those notifications. Follow me on all my socials, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. So until next time, make it a Blockbuster night.